this gentleman had to be the first Meet the Modeler. He has become an incredible friend, someone who I respect. His modeling is just unbelievable. We met well over a year ago, and he is the person who is responsible for introducing me to the evil overlord. So if you have any complaints with regards to my appearance on various episodes of A Modeler's Life podcast, and yes, for those who did listen, Lionel did send me a brand new set of headsets. So without further ado, and without any explanation of what you see on the screen, I want to add my very good friend, an incredibly talented modeler, to the stream. Meet the Modeler, our very first modeler, Mr. Scott Thornton. Hello, Scott.
Hello, all.
All right, I'm going to try and remove this so that it's just the two of us. And it was absolutely logical that you were the first Meet the Modeler, Scott, because this is a really interesting story about how, well, you tell the story, how we first met.
Well, how did we first meet? I'm definitely at the age where if you ask me what happened yesterday, I won't remember. So
well, I think you ordered some pelicans. I think that was the beginning of the relationship.
Okay, well, that was a good beginning because, and by the way, I feel privileged to be the first featured modeler after seeing those dioramas. My goodness, those are all excellent, and I'm looking forward to getting a better look at those. Those were all great, and casting a vote. So very neat, guys. Yeah, I am building a small branch line, and I have a signature scene, which is a river scene, and the river on the layout is what do you call it? A tributary of the Mississippi River. So there's always pelicans flying around, and I thought, oh, I got to have some pelicans, and of course, when I saw yours, I thought, this is it, because you had not just one pelican, you had multiple pelicans with different poses, and it was an instant sale, Bernard, because they were just too good not to pick up. Man, of course, over time, I've purchased many of your prints because there's just too many great designs not to add to the layout.
And that pelican led to a call from the evil overlord himself.
Yes, because at the time I had established a connection with Lionel through his podcast, A Modeler's Life, and had been on his show, and we had met and spent time together at some RPMs. And then I had to tell him about you because you were just getting started and your concept was so unique to the hobby. And actually, it was a very needed niche in the hobby because there was not a lot of choice. At the time when you first came out, you came out with a lot of different animals. And those animals were very needed because if you want to model a realistic scene in nature, you need certain wildlife, and you came to all of our rescue.
Well, and we were episode 160, and if people have not gone back and listened to episode 160, that was the beginning of it. It was a great episode. Sorry, I just got a message here. Let people know if Scott is on YouTube so that people can see his stuff. Are you on YouTube?
Well, I have a YouTube channel, but my YouTube is not very professional. It's more just a conglomeration of little tiny videos that I take really just to record some things that I've been up to in the past. But I have a Facebook page that is currently, what do you call it? I put it on hold for the time being because I have a series that's running in Railroad Model Craftsman magazine.
I was hoping you'd talk about that.
Right. And it's basically a series called, it's a branch light on a shelf. And is covering my whole, or the rest of my layout build. I have a very small layout, and over the course of the next year and a half, it's going to chronicle the whole layout completion. So
it's a fabulous series. I subscribe to RMC Online, and I really enjoyed your articles.
well, thank you. I'm enjoying doing it, and of course, when I have a deadline, it pushes me to get things done on the layout. So it's a win-win for sure. So my social media connection is not currently up to speed. So I do have
find you like the Facebook page. It's the Milan Brunch. Like people can still see that, right?
It's pronounced Milan.
That's Milan, okay.
Right. And yeah, they can still see it. They just can't join it. So if they just do a search for Milan Branch of the Iowa Interstate on Facebook, they'll find it and they can peruse through some of the posts. But I also have a very minimal web presence. If you just type in milanbranch.com, you'll basically just see a splash page. But I plan on adding more modeling as time goes on.
Sure. And that's Milan, right?
Correct. Just like Milan, Italy, but it's the American pronunciation is Milan.
Got it. Okay. And well, I think when this episode, I'll figure out, I don't know how to do it, but when this episode gets put on Facebook and YouTube, I can probably go back and edit the description and put the links in.
Okay.
So
great.
I will definitely do that. I'm just going to do a quick goodbye to Peter. Peter is leaving. Peter is in the UK, and it is bright and early in the UK, I guess, what, plus 6-7 hours. And I'll see you next week at Tomstock. Peter, thanks for joining us. And he says, good seeing you as well, Scott. So there's a hello to Scott from Peter.
Yeah,
I guess wonderful. You guys know each other.
I don't know if we've ever spoken, but I know of Peter. So it's all good.
All right.
Do you want me to say anything about the Pelicans and the scene there, just briefly?
Well, I think this is fun. I mean, I'm sorry I didn't get your RMC cover, but I put the slide together because I think there's a nice progression here, because it really starts with the Pelicans, which is how we met. We ended up on an episode 160 together, and then it kind of unravels from there because there are a few more sort of stops on our journey of friendship, ending up with an episode that actually launched, was it this Monday, episode 196, where Lionel revisited you and I made a guest appearance and screwed up Lionel's life.
Oh boy. Well, he's a character. He can take it, you know.
Of course.
But the Pelicans were wonderful. As you can see in that photo, everyone can see. I just call that a little scene in the river next to the one pier on the bridge there, Pelican Rock. And the 4 pelicans, you can see the different poses there. So it was just wonderful to have 4 different poses. In fact, that one pelican, I modeled him coming in for a landing and have some splashing water you can see there. So it just gave me an opportunity to do some creative things with the mini prints. Yeah. And I've got some other things coming up in the RMC series. In fact, not the next installment, but it publishes every other month.
Okay.
So the next installment will be in, let's see, September. And then I think the November one, I'm going to be modeling a cornfield. Okay. And mini prints will be featured in that installment because I have some pheasants that will be residing in the cornfield. So that'll be fun.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, that's good to know.
And then we also collaborated on that conveyor that you see, that everyone sees in the upper right up there.
That's what I want to talk about. I mean, there've been other shenanigans there where you built something that people can listen to if they want to listen to episode 196. But there've been a few sort of collaborations, but you really brought me, and I've got to tell you, these augers, these conveyors are selling unbelievably well. And you brought me a wonderful, wonderful model, which is available at miniprints. And I actually built a little diorama myself here, which probably can't see, but I was going to show, but I'd rather show yours. Tell me about this.
Well, it's a conveyor that actually resides in the town I live in. I live in central Iowa in a town called Ames, and downtown Ames, there's a salt dealer that has a spur off the Union Pacific main line, and they receive hoppers every week of salt. I believe the salt comes from Kansas.
Okay.
And they take them from the hopper and load them into dump trucks that take the salt to the local communities all around central Iowa. And those communities store the salt for their winter road application. And they have an old conveyor that's been on site for many years. And I thought, wouldn't that be a fantastic model to develop? And I made friends with a young engineer named Alex Young, and Alex is just a whiz at CAD. And so I went down to the salt dealer and took some photographs and some dimensional sketches, and I got a hold of Alex and also talked to you, and Alex put together a fantastic CAD illustration, and we talked to you, Bernard, and you're producing that now. So it's a neat model because it's the type of line side industry that it's found everywhere across the country, and it's with one model you can create an industry. You purchase it, you paint it, you put it on your layout, you build a little pit, and you start shipping hoppers. And
it works. It works for fertilizer. It works for salt. It works for, probably could work for sand. I mean, there's so many different commodities.
I know there's one on the Mylon branch where they use, a conveyor like that to take lava rock for there's a landscape company that takes lava rock and uses a conveyor just like that with a pit and just dumps it, onto their property, and people come and buy it. So it's a really, really neat model. Alex built in a lot of detail. I think anyone who purchases one of those conveyors will not be disappointed in the quality.
Oh, it's a wonderful model. I mean, thank you for your inspiration. Thank you, Alex, for your CAD. And it printed beautifully. I mean, I'm thrilled with all elements of it. We've sold a ton of them. And it really is an industry in, about 4 or 5 square inches that just adds so much fun to a layout. It's a wonderful, wonderful model. Thank you for finding it, and thank you for bringing it to miniprints.
And thanks for producing it and distributing it and doing everything you do, Bernard. So
no,
there's always something that is happening at miniprints, and it's exciting because you keep producing more and more designs, which makes it incredibly fun. And they're all affordable. They're easy to add to the layout, and it's great. Somebody just asked in the chat, does anyone know the Scotty's Model Shop? That is me. I am Scotty's Model Shop. So.
You are Scotty's. Well, yeah. And there's so much to talk about. I mean, my God, we could do an entire hour. The other thing that I don't know if you saw fly by in the chat is that people were saying, hey, that's the Scott Thornton from the Proto Throttle.
Yep. The Proto Throttle with in collaboration with Iowa Scaled Engineering. That's our baby.
I know.
So we have fun with that, and we've got since we have listening ears, we're developing a new product called the Sound Conductor that will coordinate with the Proto Throttle or with just a regular DCC controller, where the conductor will be able to utilize different sounds on two-man crews. So you guys can look forward to that. It's going to be exciting, I think. And Iowa Scaled Engineering has other products in development too, so keep an eye out.
And I love this story because, I mean, you know, it was absolutely wonderful to meet you. And I mean, it's wonderful. And this is kind of the theme for my June and July, which is, you know, it all started with the Pelican, and now we're collaborating on models and coming up with crazy ideas. And I love the fact that, you know, we're both recovering graphic designers, and, you know, we've started a little bit of an online friendship. That I have to tell everybody, and I did hint before, that this item that will make a debut at Tom Stock had a lot of input from Scott. Scott and I brainstormed about this. I haven't shown it to you yet, Scott. I showed it to Lionel. He's going gaga over it, so I will show it to you later.
Okay,
but
great.
This is a third collaboration between the two of us. So full credit for this item. I think you're going to be very pleased when you see it. And no, I really appreciate you. I appreciate, you know, talking with another, you know, recovering graphic designer while you're still doing it. But, you know, I really enjoy working with you and bouncing ideas around.
Likewise. Yeah. And I look forward to future collaborations too, because I know we've got different ideas in the works. So.
Oh, for sure. Definitely. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to put you back down into the basement with a huge thanks. And I got to say that the bar is set very high. So I have no idea who the next Meet the Modeler is going to be, but I don't know how they're going to top this. So thank you. Thank you so much for joining. And I think everybody really enjoyed it. Does anybody have any sort of final thoughts or comments while we still have Scott here? Because I know that it's getting late. I don't usually like to go too much longer than an hour. So I've got a few more slides. But before I say goodbye to you, let's see if anyone has any thoughts or comments. Nothing that I'm seeing. All right. Well, everyone knows how to reach you, or will know how to reach you, because I will link your socials for the rebroadcast. And thank you, Scott. It was an absolute pleasure. I really appreciate you being online.
Well, thank you, Bernard. And
and people are saying, yeah, I got to link Scotty's Model Shop. Give a plug. What's your Scotty's Model Shop URL?
It's just scottysmodelshop.com.
And SCOTTYS?
Right. Correct.
Okay. Thank you, Heath. That is, that's a good plug. All right. I'm going to put you in the basement.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks, man.